1875, Luigi Wimmer, an Austrian engineer, came here to take care of his lungs. But Gardone Riviera did not exist as a tourist destination. Well, no tourist destinations existed on Lake Garda at that time. Wimmer fell in love immediately with this place and decided to build a small hotel. Well, that small hotel had a great success and became the Grand Hotel of Gardone Riviera. You see it behind me. From that moment on, it's a story of tourist success and development throughout Lake Garda. But everything started here, in Gardone Riviera. Italian Travel. At the end of the 1800s, Gardone Riviera already was an important tourist destination. Elegant villas hosted international customers allured by the round-year mild climate of Gardone Riviera, and by the refinement, the wellness, and the elegant balls of the Grand Hotel during the unforgettable nights of the Belle Epoque. The next century, Winston Churchill, Benito Mussolini, William Somerset, Vladimir Nabokov were captured by the clear water of Lake Garda and by the beautiful lakefront of Gardone Riviera, that nowadays still enliven the warm summer nights of the city. But above all, it's the blooming vegetation of this place that creates a charming atmosphere, as you can clearly see at the Heller Garden. André Heller is a famous Austrian singer, artist and actor. He describes his garden a collection of samples from all over the world, where you can see hundreds of different plants from everywhere twist and turn among rocks, ponds and walkways. This unbelievable diversity blends with the sculptures by international artists shown in the garden, in a perfect balance between nature and art. A maze of paths guides you through the garden, and there is a real alpine valley with northerner trees, canyons and waterfalls, with the Dolomites on the background. Giant carps, trouts, butterflies and dragonflies live in ponds covered by water lilies and lotuses. Streams, water games, and gushes of water from bronze heads bring peace and fresh in the hot summer days. Water gives the garden a quiet atmosphere. It always creates new and living landscapes. In this garden there are various environments, connected by the same harmony and the same naturalist and landscape purpose. The beaches are really popular here in Gardone. This is the Casino Beach, well equipped with any kind of service. This beach is also really appreciated for its clear waters. This is the only one that achieved the blue flag. It means that in 125 places in Italy, Gardone Riviera is the only Lombard hamlet to be awarded by the Foundation for the Protection of the Italian Environment. Next to the beach is the St. Mark's Tower, the secret meeting place of Benito Mussolini and his lover Claretta Petacci. In 1925, Gabriele D'Annunzio purchased the tower and connected it to the Vittoriale degli Italiani, the shrine of Italian victories, a dwelling that he created and where he lived from 1921 to 1938. Gabriele D'Annunzio bought this property in 1921. He wanted to set up a dwelling that could be the icon of his inimitable lifestyle, a house and a museum to be remembered. Of the objects that the former owner had, he kept only the books, because they are art, and he never got rid of art. Today, 33,000 books are stored in the Vittoriale. The portrait of Dante Alighieri and the copy of the Pittitondo by Michelangelo are throughout in the house, because he considered himself their heir. In the relics room you can see an altar with a steering wheel. An English friend of him died during a speedboat race. He broke his chest against the steering wheel. D'Annunzio put the steering wheel here to honor his friend and to honor all the risky challenges and the religion of risk, the only one he had faith in. Gabriele D'Annunzio spent a lot of time in the leper's room, meditating or to remember the anniversary of the death of his mother and the death of Eleonora Duse, actress, lover and the poet's muse. He died at the desk. His body was put here for one night and then put in another room where anyone could honor him. The hand over the door welcomes you in the room where he read the letters from the creditors. He had a lot of debts, but couldn't pay for them, so he pretended to be one-armed and never answered the letters. The poet's study is named Workshop, since he described himself as a workman of the world. The door was built little to force the guests to bend down before the place where art is created. While the dining room, called Kelly's room, it's named after the tortoise that lived in the gardens of the Vittoriale for 5 years, before it died of an indigestion. D'Annunzio put the tortoise here to remind his guests not to binge, or they could end up like his tortoise. In case you are wondering, yes, the tortoise shell is true. On the top of the Vittoriale there is the Mausoleum, a funeral monument built by the architect Giancarlo Maroni after the death of D'Annunzio. The monument represents the victories of the humble, the suppers and the heroes. In the center there is the grave of D'Annunzio. Around it, 10 of the heroes and legionaries of Fiume who were dear to the poet. The Puglia military ship is located in the park. It's maybe the most evocative relic of the Vittoriale. The ship was given to D'Annunzio by the Italian Navy in 1923. Inside there's the museum that collects some precious vintage models of military ships from the collection of Amedeo di Savoia, Duke of Aosta. The bow points towards the Adriatic Sea and Dalmatia, to remember the occupation of the city of Fiume. Villa Alba was the first convention hall on Lake Garda. It hosted exhibits, events and art expositions, and during the years has become the equivalent of meetings and culture. And this was Gardone Riviera. My adventurous friends, I remind you to put a thumb up if you like Gardone and subscribe my channel for more videos. I thank you and I greet you. Now I'll go have a huge portion of spaghetti cause I'm starving. See you soon. Italian Travel.